all but little salt in the sneer of Juvenal's Ceter est cum dicit Horatius evohe. For it is not yet to be recorded that any man beyond all this. For it is yet to be recorded that any man brought aid or comfort to his fellow by moping. No, the universal joke, though it be not a true trance, is most assuredly a means of grace, and often proves the chief ingredient of the universal solvent. Back then to Browning, to the bravest last words he wrote while fourscore struck upon the timepiece of his years. Greet the unseen with a cheer, bid him forward, breast and back as either should be. Strive and thrive, cry speed, fight on, fair ever, there is here, amen. Were the world understood, ye would see it was good, a dance to a delicate measure. Aye, let us end with the most sudden, surprising word of a certain angel of the vision and the voice who left the seer lapsed in his solemn trance with the gay, laughing phrase, but I go dancing. It is yet to be recorded that any tables of the law bar salvantur tabul cherisu. Indifference. The state of mind which is characterized by indifference is commonly called trance, but the misnomer is unfortunate. It is in fact a sense the precise contrary of a trance, for trance usually implies samadhi, and this state specifically excludes any such occurrence that implies a uniting, and this a wild dissociation. Yet there is nothing herein to suggest necessarily any practice of the Black Brothers, for it is not, properly speaking, an attainment, but rather a convenient attitude, and it is one of the very greatest practical importance and use. One cannot remain indefinitely in any samadhi at the same time. It is proper to fill the intervals between gusts of positive work in such a way as to leave oneself as free as possible to take the next step. One should therefore cultivate a habit of mind which is not bound by any form of desire. The state of indifference is thus a form of that silence which is defense and protection. Indifference, the state of mind, and is cognate with the third noble truth of Buddhism, sorrow's ceasing. The general idea of the state is that the mind should react automatically to each and every impression. It does not matter whether the event be aye or nay. Blavatsky observes that the feeling is at least tinged with disgust, but this is an error. Such a state is imperfect. There should, on the contrary, be a quite definite joy, not in the impression itself, but in being indifferent to it. This joy springs doubtless from the sense of power involved, but that is again an imperfection. One should rather rejoice in the cognizance of the ultimate truth, that existence is pure joy, not in any feeling more immediate. It is to be observed that the attainment and maintenance of this state depends to a great extent on the mastery of several trances. For instance, one must be convinced of the first noble truth by the trance of sorrow, or it would not be logical to be indifferent to all things. There might be, in the absence of this perception of sabe pidukam, some impression which actually led with the third noble truth of Buddhism. Sabe pidukam, some impression which actually led to some state free from sorrow, and this is not the case. Freedom from sorrow depends on freedom from impression. Yet it would not be fair to say that this state of indifference was akin to that dullness which succeeds the acute spasm of sorrow. It is not the anesthesia of a nerve worn out by excess of pain. There is never any place in the curriculum of a magician for passivity. Of course, we here accept what may be called the active or willed passivity described in Lieber, LXV. Indifference is to be an intensely active condition. One may compare it with the ease of a skilled fencer who meets and deflects every possible attack of his antagonist with equal vigor, unconscious of his acts because he has trained his eye, wrist, and even his blade to think for themselves. Thus, indifference is the spiritual form of the automatic consciousness of the adept, and this resides in Yesod. Sabe